What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode number 333 of the A2D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, please like, subscribe, follow, and share the link with your friends. If you'd like to get our curriculum, you can get the paperback rebook of From Ashes to Destiny on Amazon. Today's episode again is number 333, and it's entitled In the Moment. And on today's episode, we're going back to Change Park. We've been there for several walkabouts as they have several different trails, and we're doing the last trail today. So this walkabout will be on the trail that's entitled In the Moment Trail, and that's why the podcast episode is entitled In the Moment. So let's get started down the trail. Read the signs, see what the guys wrote in the journals, and see how we can grow from it. First sign at the beginning of the trail says, how do you recognize the moment you are actually in? Once recognized, how do you stay in the moment? Then, how do you embrace the moment and become the moment? Key aspects to think about as you walk this trail is focus fully on your surroundings, your feelings, your thoughts, and your reactions. Release thoughts of judgment. Don't let those thoughts take you to the past. And don't let them create stress or anxiety or fear about the future. That's how we stay in the moment on this trail. Okay, cool start to the trail. Hope you're ready to see what we find. Let's go down the trail to the first sign. And it's a quote by John Kabat-Zinn, an American professor of medicine. And it says, you can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. Let's see what the guys wrote in the journal. First guy said, well, everybody, one day at a time really helps me stay in the moment. I've viewed learning to live one day at a time is actually a lot like learning to surf. It takes time of practice, time of patience, but the waves of opportunity keep coming to keep learning if you stay on the surfboard. Second guy wrote, for me, it means to stay grounded and get in touch with what keeps me grounded. What is my foundation in recovery? Quite frankly, AA is my rock, and the rest of that stuff out there for me is sinking sand. Last guy wrote, learning to surf requires total focus, not multitasking in your head. And I need to really focus, unifocus on recovery by totally focusing in the moment. So I like this sign that says you can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. Great start from the trail so far. Let's go down to the second sign and see what it has to say. This is a quote by Omar Khayyam, the Persian poet and philosopher, and it says, be happy for this moment. This moment is your life. Let's see what the guys wrote in the journal here. First guy said, yeah, I think for me, to stay happy in the moment, I have to pause, intentionally pause several times a day to take inventory of the moment and how I'm feeling in the moment. Because I found if I just go with the flow or roll with the punches, so to speak, I have no clue how I'm feeling. I'm just reacting. Next guy said, I like what the first guy said because I use the feeling wheel to help me reduce stress and thus reduce my cravings. And I found this tool that I learned in rehab, the feeling wheel, as a perfect way to let me see what my moment is that I'm in, how I'm feeling about it, and understand that these moments of life are our life. Last guy wrote in the journal, staying in the moment helps me notice when I've taken a wrong turn, when my thoughts are spiraling, when I'm slipping into stinking thinking. If I pause like the first guy said in the journal and take a breath, so to speak, I can stay in the moment and then actually see the wrong turn before I go too far down the road. Okay, good stuff from these guys so far. Let's go down to the third sign and see what they say on this in the moment trail. And it's a quote by Seneca, the Roman philosopher. And it says, "Don't lose the day in expectation of the night." Ooh, I like this one. Don't lose the day in expectation of the night. See what the first guy wrote in the journal. He said, "Well, I was brought up being told to always think ahead, to plan for the unexpected before it happens." So this quote's a hard one for me because I was really told, forget about today, expect what's coming next, expect the night, expect the unexpected, so to speak. And I'm working on this with my sponsor, and he told me that I need to start thinking less ahead and more about today. So I'm actually keeping track of what percentage of the time I'm thinking ahead and how far ahead am I thinking. So I think less times about ahead and less further ahead. And it seems to be working. Next guy wrote, "Every time I get a new task or a new goal, it can overwhelm me. But I've learned to talk to someone who can shake me and keep me in the moment. Because as soon as I am told I have a goal or I have a task or a job to do, I jump ahead to how I can get it done and what it will look like when I am done. And I forget all about today and just focus on getting that goal done." Okay, good stuff from these guys so far. Let's go down to the next sign. And this is an interesting one. It's not a quote. It says, "Welcome to the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise. If you're trying to learn how to stay in the moment, here's the greatest exercise you'll ever learn. Name 5 things you see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you hear, 2 you smell, and 1 you taste to instantly connect with your environment in the moment." Wow, I like this one because I'm always talking about staying in touch with our 5 senses, and here's a great exercise for it. Let me repeat that. The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise. Name 5 things you see, 4 you can touch, 3 you hear, 2 you smell, and 1 you taste to instantly connect with your environment in the moment. Let's see what the guys wrote in the journal about this. First guy says, "Wow, what an amazing tool. I'm putting this one to use today." Second guy says, "Ditto. I want to build up muscle memory strength so that this exercise becomes what naturally keeps me in the moment. So my muscle memory is going to be mental muscle memory to get me thinking about this exercise every time and staying in touch with my senses." Third guy writes, "I'm doing this right now as I'm reading this sign on the trail. I can actually say that I'm really getting in touch with myself and I'm interacting with where I am right now. Everybody should really do this." Wow. Awesome part in the trail. Let's go down to the end of the trail and see what reminders they have for us as we finish this walkabout. The sign says, "Thanks for walking this trail with us, the In the Moment Trail. As you leave, we want you to remember to do the 5, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise and to embrace the moment, to stay in the moment. Never let the moment slip away. Stop looking at the past as the good old days. Enjoy the moment of the present to stay in the moment. You'll be happier and you'll begin to notice and enjoy the little things in life." Wow. Great walkabout. I want to thank the listeners for joining us for this episode of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you'd like to contact me, you can send me a message by email at davidfromatod@gmail.com, or you can just click on the link in the podcast and send me a message that way. Keep listening to future podcast episodes, and as always, stay safe and stay resilient.